folks, and welcome to another show. I've got the pleasure of having my main man next to me there, magnificent Kirk.
Hello.
And my name's Sid, and today we're going to be discussing our top 10 singles from the post-punk genre. So post-punk, it means many, many things to many, many different people, and it's got a real, when you go online and look at what post-punk means, it means 20 different things to 20 different people.
Exactly.
So I know it means something totally different to Kirk to what it does to me. So for example, for me, post-punk is like something dark. It's got some sort of edgy sort of sound to it. It could be guitar-based, but it doesn't have to be. And, you know, it's got a real mood to it. Kirk, how about yourself?
Post-punk to me is all the singles that I really enjoyed after punk basically disappeared off the scene. And I think when you hear them today, it's still very refreshing to hear. So post-punk to me is, if you had a jukebox and you've got everybody around and you're having a party, these are the songs that everybody would want to hear. And everybody would know the lyrics too. So that's post-punk.
Right, okay. So two different viewpoints. We've decided to go down a
It's
certain
not dark.
route.
It's not dark in my house. It's light.
Well, it's dark in my house. We'll see how it goes. Right, so Kirk, would you like to start with the top 10? What's your number 10 choice?
An absolute classic on the jukebox. It is Martha and the Muffins, Echo Beach. What a tune. I think the intro pretty much just grabs you straight away. Lyrics fantastic. And it kind of, I think the post-punk thing is a lot of them, which we're probably going to talk about, maybe a kind of one-hit wonders, or you know, they're just the songs that were the most popular by the bands. So I just really enjoy the song. And you know, everybody knows the lyrics as soon as it starts, so it's fantastic. It sounds great today. Love it a bit. Number 10, perfect song.
Yeah, I mean, that's a cracking little tune, isn't it? You know, it's very poppy, very bouncy. It's not what I would go down, but I think it's a great choice. I just want to talk about some of the ones I've missed out here. There's some real chokers for me, like Damaged Goods by Gang of Four, Homo Sapien, Pete Shelley. I've missed out Someone, Somewhere, Summertime, Simple Minds, which is a great song. I've missed it. It is great. I've missed out
as well. I was kind of like, you know what I mean? I was like, yeah, Simple Minds. It was, we're going to just do a Simple Minds show.
Yeah, no, definitely. We definitely
too much to talk about with that band.
We definitely are groundbreaking. I mean, I've missed out Yankee Dollar by the Skids and nothing by XTC because we had them on another show, and Theatre of Hate. So there's loads of stuff I've missed out. Now, today, what I'm going to do, my number 10 is really an unusual one. It's a song by The Jam, and it's the one that people don't expect to hear, and it's Funeral Pyre. And I've gone down by the route of Funeral Pyre because it fits into what as I was saying before, that whole post-punk thing. It's dark, it's really moody. Obviously, the theme itself, Funeral Pyre, but what I love on it is the drumming is just fantastic. I just love the drums on it, that real sort of rhythm going along on the snare. The guitar's really powerful. It's bits of echo going on the whole thing, and it's just got a real mood. And I think it's one of the rare Jam songs, if I remember rightly, which is actually written by the whole of the band. It's not just a Weller track. I think it's written by all three of them. I just think it has something really, it's got a real power to it.
So Rick Butler gets something out of it.
Yeah, so yeah, may well financially score. I don't think it never gets played on the radio. It's always the obvious great songs, but it's never that one. Never gets played. So yeah, my number 10, is Funeral Pyre. A little bit different.
Absolute brilliant song. So
Kirk, what's your number 9?
Number 9, Elvis Costello, Oliver's Army. Again, well, it's probably the first time I'd ever really heard Elvis Costello. Song about Northern Ireland. I think he'd went away and then came back and started writing all these, lyrics about kind of what was happening at the time.
Yeah,
everything's kind of, with a lot of great songs, everything's hid away, you know, under a pop tune, isn't it? You know, it's something very serious, but they're singing, you know, and you just think, oh, that's Oliver's Army. It's just inventing an army. We don't know who Oliver's Army are or anything. We just think it's a great song.
Well, when you're a little kid, you don't realise Oliver's Oliver Cromwell, and it's all about Ireland as a whole, and you don't realise this, do you? It's just a nice, catchy pop tune when you're 10 years of age.
And it's got obviously the River Tyne mentioned. So what can I say? You're in there, Bonnie lad.
Yeah, it's great. Very dark theme. It's got that bizarre. It's got that real contrast as well. The dark theme, as you were saying there about Ireland, and then it's got that whole light side of it because the piano is very ABBA. I think you said the bass, the piano a little bit on Dancing Queen.
Yeah, that's. I was read that about it also, that it's like got that ABBA kind of tune behind it, so it's like, you know, it's really poppy, but it's dead serious. So fantastic song, and it's being like probably all our post-punk songs. As I kind of mentioned, you never ever get sick of hearing them. When you hear them, you think, oh, it just takes you back to that great time, you know, when you how old you were and listening to them, and just think, oh, what a great, and it lasts the test of time.
Oh, it does. It's actually a fantastic song. Really is a fantastic song. He's changed the lyrics recently as well. When I saw, not the last time, but the time before, he redid the lyrics. He's rewrote it because he's unhappy with the number of the lyrics in it. But there you have it. My number 9 is Being Boiled by the Human League. Came out in 78. It's a fabulous tune. There's not many lyrics in it, you know, about butter and all the rest of it, and it's clearly influenced the song Fade to Grey. Very, very similar chords, very, very similar tune in some respects, but a fantastic song. Again, dark.
Kind of the birth of electro, wasn't it?
Yes, very much. Very much the birth of electro pop. Which nobody was really doing then. You had the German electro bands, you know, Neu and Kraftwerk and Can and all those sorts of bands, but you didn't have much over in this country. And then all of a sudden, obviously you had Bowie and stuff, but you know, over in this country, all of a sudden, 78 that comes out, and it's really different. It's very, very different. It's so out there, edgy, sort of very, very different. And as you rightly say there, definitely the birth of sort of electro pop, electronic sort of music in this country, which would then obviously create a whole sort of genre in its own.
Yeah, we spoke about it being that you didn't need a guitar to form a band anymore. You know, you could base your band around the keyboard, and again, you probably only needed 3 or 4 notes, you know, on a drum machine, and that was it. You're up and running.
Yeah, and in many respects, it's the ultimate punk ethic, isn't it? You know, get in, plug up and play the guitar, as was with punk, but then you could say post-punk is like, actually, don't even need the guitar, as you say. Let's plug in the keyboards and play a few notes, and that does the job. So yeah, that's my number 9.
Said the guitar is in the background. You know, it just kind of accompanies a little bit of the song. Not that particular song, but for the electro, and it's not important anymore. Not as important.
No, I agree. What have you got in it? Number 8 then?
Number 8, Depeche Mode, following again into this the electro. I think it was just basically seeing the birth of very young people, you know, doing. I think they just had a kind of style of their own. You know, that you were wondering who they'd been influenced by, and it kind of wasn't really anybody they'd been influenced by. And they were just, you know, the lyrics are pretty straightforward. Very, you know, all I want to do is see you again. Is that too much to ask for? You know, it's dead straightforward stuff. But you know, they were only 16 or 17 and young lads, and we know where they actually went to after this, you know, and it's fantastic to see them conquer the world, you know. Great song. It's just, again, I just love me electro and love hearing it. And maybe you don't hear this song as much because Depeche Mode have got so much. I mean, where do you start? And I just picked something from something very early on, something I still enjoy hearing.
Yeah, it's a great song as well.
Probably could play on the keyboard.
Yeah, see you. There's not much to it. And also, I mean, they're another band who've almost created. They've definitely created their own style, their own song, and it fits into that sort of dark, gothic-y sort of genre. But as you were saying as well, on the keys, and it's definitely got something. There's definitely something about it.
Well,
Really
the
unusual.
fashion as well was all changing, wasn't it?
Yes,
You know,
yes.
well, that's when them, you know, the big, you know, maybe not so much with them, but you know, the big shoulder pads were starting to come in. It was all moving away from sort of the punk thing. You know, it was all leaving it, and it was creating this brand new look.
And I mean, they also come under that goth sort of style as well, don't they? And that sort of fits in with my number 8, because my number 8 is A Forest by The Cure, which was originally it's this great song. Again, I think it's groundbreaking. I think that really a lot of my choices I would define as groundbreaking, and I think this definitely is. You know,
Well,
with
you
the
would.
I would. With that bass, I think it's got either a chorus or a flange or a both on. So it's got that really long,
The
sweeping
bass
sound on the
is
bass.
just amazing. Even
Yeah,
when you hear it live, you just think, oh my
yeah,
God, you know, it's just fantastic.
yeah. And
Oh,
it sort of echoes around. It's got a load of empty space. And that's what I really love about this style of music. There's that emptiness about it, which mirrors the mood. It's dark, it's
yeah,
moody, it's gothic. And along with Susie, for me, without a doubt, The Cure were the sort of inventors of that sort of goth sort of look in particular, but also the sound
yeah.
of it, you know, and they created a brand new style together as a band, because obviously we know they're really heavily connected as bands, the Cure and Susie. And I think it's just a great song. I remember the first time I heard it, I thought, oh, what the hell's that? When's the singing going to come in? You
I
know, it's all that big, long
just
sort of,
remember everybody, like, you know, the lads trying to look like Robert Smith, and they
yeah,
all have that grim tape, but they would all look the same. What was that coat called? They used to have this like a greyish,
yes, like a long
greenish
trench
jacket.
coat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
aye. You know, they all looked exactly the same. It was just like, you know, Robert Smith. Well, you know, he was a legend. Well, he is a legend.
he is.
Brilliant.
Yeah, he's one of the great
Yeah,
songwriters. As I always say, you don't ever hear Robert Smith and Terry Hall in the same room at the same time, mind you.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
you
he was
know,
saying,
vocally, they're almost identical. But honestly, A Forest, what an absolute tune. As my kids call it, it's a banger.
the
So,
back.
it's a
Yeah, we love
banger.
it. Yeah.
Kirk, what have you got in at number 7?
Number 7, we've got The Police, Don't Stand So Close to Me. Again, we're on the bass trip again. Fantastic. Obviously, the musicianship by the Police is just outstanding. I love Three Piece. I love the way he was wearing a big T-shirt as well. So that was just always brings us back. We know what the song is about, you know, school teacher, which he was, but it's not about him. And you know, obviously a student, getting close to him and what he was going through and like his feelings. Brilliant song. I just think it's great. Very simple. Like a lot of the Beatles songs, it's not overkill. Each like the drummer, bassist, guitarist, each play a small part, but then together it just
As a musician, try and play them. Blimey hell, the hard songs to play. I mean, Andy Summers on the guitar. Oh my God! If you ever try and learn to play "Message in a Bottle" on the guitar, you think, you know, it's really difficult. He's massive stretches, and he makes it look so easy. He's such a player. Stuart Copeland, virtuoso on the drums. Sting, fantastic bass player. It's a great choice. I'll tell you what I didn't know. I didn't realize until recently, and it's so obvious when you hear it now. Money for Nothing there. I want my MTV, but at the beginning, it's basically the same song. Don't Stand So Close to Me at the beginning. I didn't realize it's exactly the same tune that he's put.
Stings on that, isn't it?
Sings on it. He sings on it. He gets a credit for it. You know that I want my MTV, and said, don't stand so close to me.
Do you think he was going to sue them? He was going to sue them, so they said, "Look, come on our single, and we'll just kind of divvy up the cash."
Yeah, it's
probably
just no, just Sting's little bit. He just lifted a line of his own song, and cashed in. But a great song as well, but that's another story. Okay, great choice, Kirk. Like that one. My number 7 is Shot by Both Sides by Magazine, who I think are one of the most underrated bands. Real Life, I'm going to argue, is possibly the best of all the post-punk bands albums. It's certainly one of them anyway. It's a really great album, and this is one of the first post-punk singles. I think why I might have beaten them to that sort of genre or that style. Also another great band, but who didn't make my list. But it's just superb. Again, John McGeoch on guitar, who features a number of times. He is the ultimate post-punk guitarist for me. Fabulous player, massively influential on anybody, all the way through. Johnny Marr mentions him all of the time. Other things that stick out for this song is Lipstick, which is the sort of, I think it's a double A side with Promises by Buzzcocks. And it's the same song, but just like certainly the chorus, but with just different lyrics. So Shelley has also got the credit on this song along with Devoto. And it's just dead catchy, beautiful guitar. The guitar is fantastic. It motors along. Devoto's weird vocals. He's got such a weird, unusual vocal style, but it's terrific.
Yeah, that Magazine definitely left punk behind. Yeah. You know, that was the point they were making. Correct use of soap for me. But yeah, I think it's absolutely what a band. But I love the beat again as well. It's just well, everything about them.
Everything. They're a super band with terrific musicians. If I remember rightly, bizarrely, I think the drummer was in Swing Out Sister as well, which is an odd choice, but there you have it. But yes, it's in all the lists for post punk. Often is Shot by Both Sides, but it is a truly great song, so it's really hard not to have it in there for me, and I just love it. I love them as a band, and I love that song. So we're down to number 6 now, Kirk. What's your number 6?
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Again, another one with a great bass intro, the Skids into the Valley. Just, high kicking. I found out that Into the Valley was where the Dunfermline boys and used to go down and solve all their disputes. So that is what the song is about. Yes, that's, if you want to say that, your car's faster than mine, or, you're harder than me, then they used to go down into the valley and the dispute was sorted. So that's
into the valley of death.
Into the valley, yeah. So that's what it's about. I mean, we all know how it starts. It's got wah-hey-wah-hoes and, bass lines and high kicking. It's fantastic. It's the Skids at the best, and it's still played today, it's an anthem, isn't it? It's fantastic. I mean, the Skids have got lots of songs that we could put in there, but I just particularly absolutely love that song. I don't get bored of it at all. Like, I don't get bored with any of the songs that I've picked today.
No, it's like Saints Are Coming could have been in there quite easily. In fact, Saints Are Coming could be number 1 for me, but, I just picked a series of songs now that you mentioned. I'm thinking, why didn't I have the Saints Are Coming in? Because it's great. I mean, there's so many songs by them. They're such an underrated band, in my opinion. And they're from the second wave of punk, but it definitely has a post-punk sort of feel to it. Some of the songs, definitely,
But one we've always talked about this, we could put in a top 50, both of them, and we could include absolutely everything. But we've had to narrow it down. So for anybody out there, we have considered probably everybody's favourite song, but we've had to cut it down.
Yeah, without a doubt. Right, my number 6, that's a great shout. My number 6 is the song Public Image by Public Image. Came out October 78 in that weird newspaper sleeve. I mean, the whole song, again, going back to your bass point there, which is a really good point, is Jaw Wobble's bass. Just as soon as it comes on, whenever I do DJ slots, it's one of the first songs I play because I just try and get the balance right. You got that bass rumbling away, and it's superb, It's he's still got that Pistols vocal style that he had, but that changes later on in life. But it's still there. But the rest of the band are totally different, and the Pistols couldn't have made that song, in my opinion, because it's a very different sort of sound. It's definitely got that Jar Wobbles influenced by reggae, so there's definitely that heaviness. Drums and guitars, very, very good. It's Kick Levine on guitar, I think. Again, just sort of unusual guitar sound, a sort of angular, stabby guitar riff. It's just a terrific song. Lydon's lyrics
About
are
the
brilliant.
newspaper cover, like I forgot
Yeah,
about that, but yeah, I remember it now.
Lydon's lyrics, great.
Mhm.
And clearly links to his thoughts about the way the papers looked at him from the Pistols' point of view, and from that perspective. So yeah, I think it's a fantastic song. Could have been higher. Again, all of these could be number one, really. You could just throw them up in the air, and I just thought, oh, it's one of my favorite songs. I must play this song at least 3 or 4 times a week. It's a truly great song. It's on my sort of Alexa shuffle, and it comes on loads. And it's just great. I always whack it up on volume when I'm in the kitchen or something. Right, Kirk, without the big five. So
Big
what have
Five,
you got? What have you got at number five?
Dexys, Gino, I just absolutely love. We talk about Dexys, how they changed, and there was 3 or 4 albums where there was a phase they went through. I mean, Gino kind of got the attention of everybody. How they got everybody on that stage on Top of the Pops, I'll never know. And playing the trombones without knocking somebody out, but just a great song, really good tuneful thing. Again, we're escaping from punk, and it's got we all know like kind of the northern soul sort of backing. It's kind of what it's about. Kevin Rowland looking fantastic. The bit sort of like Bother Boy looking. They did have Crombies on. I know they had that.
No, they wore donkeys. They wore donkey jackets.
Yeah, donkey jackets, which look up what donkey jackets are. They're the cool. The best ones were the ones with the bit of plastic on there.
Yeah, the black little bit on the back. Yeah.
And they had this kind of beanie hats on as well, and pencil mustache. No, brilliant, fantastic. Love the song. Again, a super song from. It just kind of like when you heard it for the first time, it gets you going straight away, doesn't it? You want to yes, this is great,
It's as far away from punk as you can imagine, really.
Yeah.
It's very, very different. Fantastic.
Lots of brass on it.
Brass is great.
Again, yeah, it is, as we've said, I mean, everybody wants to have their interpretation of what post-punk is. And to me, it was getting as far away from punk as possible, and that's just not even punk at all. You're not going to go around pogo into that. You're going to look like a fool.
Yeah, and in fact, in many respects, the opening to the album, the Young Soul Brothers album, sort of does it, doesn't it? Where you've got like Deep Purple on the radio, and then all of a sudden it tunes into the Pistols, and then it's got the Rat Race coming on, and then all of a sudden it's straight into like Burn It Down, and it that's almost setting the agenda of we're none of that, we're this. And Gino sort of obviously sort of embodies all of that. It's just a great pop song. It's a great song. I remember playing it I was in a party. It was like a New Year's party or something, and it came on. I asked for it to come on. It cleared the dance floor. When everyone runs up to come on, Eileen, it's like that, and then you put that on, and it cleared the dance floor. Dancing on my own on the dance floor. The other bizarre story I've got about it is I remember Sergeant Pepper's was bloody horrendous bar in the town.
I was just in before I went to see Weller the other week, and honestly, it was like going back in time. It was exactly the same. The bar slightly changed, but the music was exactly the same. You think it was the same DJ was in there, and it was just like, it was funny. It was funny, but it was just like, oh my God. And people were like, I was like thinking, where, like, have you just actually only drank in this pub for the past 30 years? You haven't.
I remember going in 30 years ago. It was in the late 80s, and I had said donkey jacket and a rolled up cap. And I walked in. The whole bar just went, Gino, Gino, and the whole bar was chanting at us.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, mental. It was a mental bar. Horrendous when I think about the bar. Right, that's a great song though. Absolutely love it. Right, my number 5 is by Buzzcocks, and it's Everybody's Happy Nowadays. It's not the obvious pop song that everybody you would think, like the obvious ones. I just love it. It's guitar driven. It's powerful. I mean, the line's taken from the Aldous Huxley book, Brave New World. Within it, he says, "I'm free, free to have a most wonderful time. Everybody's happy nowadays." That's one of the key phrases used within it. It's that sense of being like a wonderful bliss. But Shelley's lyrics are really sort of dark, and very, very powerful. I'm so tired of being upset. Always want something I could never forget. Life's an illusion, love's a dream, but I don't know what it is. And everybody's happy nowadays. It's that sort of sarcasm, that question, but also, as I say, the musicianship's brilliant. The sheer, ferocity of the guitar is just marvelous, absolutely marvelous. It's beautifully produced.
I think when people sing along to it, they want to get as high as they possibly can.
Oh my God! It's right up. It's not quite silly games high, but it's high, and it's a great song. Really well written. Shelley, for me, genius, and it's a fabulous song. Really great guitar hook, and just superbly played. And as I say, it's got that real element of menace, darkness to it, and it's over in about 2.5 minutes.
Yeah,
some versions of 2 minutes. It's just sheer bang, really powerful. And I think it was late 70, early 79, something like that. Just a great song. They were a great band. So there you go. That's my number 5. What's your number 4, Kirk?
Number 4, we've got the Talking Heads, Once in a Lifetime. I can remember being in the schoolyard, and kind of like the day after Top of the Pops. I know we talk about Top of the Pops all the time, but it was the only way we could get our music. That was how we built that through. And everybody was talking about this man doing the strangest dance, like he was kind of being almost pushed or shoved, and he was kind of moving backwards and that. And I just think, God, this is just, again, so different from what you did. There was that, maybe we hadn't seen too much punk, but there was still that bit of disco, and I don't know, maybe Remains of Slade left lying behind, and you just had this music. Again, we all know the artists in the backing band, Tina Weymouth and France. They're just brilliant musicians, and they went on to make, at the time, that was a great song, and the previous albums are fantastic. Again, trying to choose something that I really, really love, and when I hear it, the intro again, the intro just gets you straight away. You know what you're going to get with this song, and I absolutely love it a bit.
It's a fantastic song, and again, I almost chose Wordy Rapping Hood by Tom Tom Club, just because the musicianship from, say, Tina Weymouth and France on drums is great, and Tina Weymouth's sisters doing the backing vocals to the weird chant thing that they had. I'm not even going to try and do it because it's so unusually weird, but it's brilliant. And if you listen to it, it's like a full 9-minute version, and the beat sounds to me like it was taken for I think Billie Jean was clearly influenced by the beat. When you hear it later on, it's got the same drum beat. It's a fantastic song. I love Talking Heads, and we will be doing a Talking Heads show, folks. So feel free to tune in when we hit Talking Heads. They're one of my favourite bands. Great choice. My number 4 is one of the darker songs by Adam and the Ants, and it's Kings of the Wild Frontier. I just think the drumming is stupendous. I don't think anybody had really heard anything like this at the time. I remember going out and buying the single when it first came out, and it wasn't a hit. It might have crept in at number 30 originally, or 40, or it was just really low. It wasn't really a hit. And I remember getting it, and it was. I just thought, this is great. I heard it on someone like John Peel and thought, this is great. Or Kid Jensen played it and thought, this is great. I love the drums, this sort of Burundi double drum beat thing going on. They're linked to all those sort of classic bands. The guitar by Marco Perrone is really sort of dark. It's a bit Roxy as well, and he's openly admit he's a big Roxy fan. It's got all that going on, but it's almost like a new sort of welcoming of a new age as well. And I think Adam Ant was really the first great pop star of the 80s, wasn't he? You know, even though he's from the punk background, he's moved on a bit from the first album, which by the way, Dirt Wears White Socks is a magnificent album. If you haven't heard it, go and listen to it. Which really, in my opinion, helped start all of that angular guitar stuff. This has gone on to a little different sidestep, if you like. I'm not saying it's better; it's just different, and I just love it. The theme's really great. And it became a hit later on after Dog Eat Dog, because Dog Eat Dog was the first breakthrough single. And then Kings of the World Frontier came a little bit later again when it was re-released.
He went from a punk to a pirate.
Yeah, great song, great look, got everything you want. I say the drumming's magnificent on it. And the whole band are just superb. And Adam Ant had the complete sort of look.
And if you go to Sergeant Pepper's on a Saturday night, you will hear it.
Well, everybody, all our viewers, I'm sure they'll all be at the fancy dress parties. And every 80s fancy dress party, there's at least 3 Adam Ants. You know?
Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely nailed on. So, yeah, Kings of the Wild Frontier is my number 4. Again, groundbreaking. What have you got in at number 3 then, Kirk?
Number 3, we have Kraftwerk, the model. I am a huge Kraftwerk fan. Lucky enough to see them. Both were the 3D thing at the Sage, which was just fantastic. It was that I was again. You had this at the time. I'd never heard anything like it. You know, the lyrics were so it was just kind of plain and bland, but the production on that single is just, today I think it's one of the greatest produced singles I've ever heard. It's perfect. We all know the German version is really good. Das Model as well. I think it has a little bit extra, has an extra edge on it as well. Brilliantly wrote. You know, very clear what the song's about. It's quite simplistic, but it just lasts forever. Again, as soon as it opens, and not a very long song either. I don't think it's you know, probably a 3-minute classic. It was a B-side when it was released as a single, as an A-side, Neon Lights B-side, and then it came out again as a B-side as what was it, Computer World?
Yeah.
And the DJs were playing the model, and that's what got it back into the charts. So then it got reissued again. So
and it went to number 1, didn't it?
It went actually. I'm sure it like kind of went up the charts, and then it went to like number 4. Then it went to number 6, and then it went to number 1. So I don't know what happened that week. So maybe they got into the computers and worked out how to fiddle it. But
it's groundbreaking, and I'd never heard of Kraftwerk at the time when as a young kid. I'd never really heard of them until I heard that. Thought it was great, and as you say, now they're one of my favourite bands. And as you rightly say, listen to them in German. It might be a bit wanky saying, "Oh, listen to them in German, it's better," but it genuinely is. It's just got something else about it. There is this other element in German, and it just sounds right. So their albums are just fantastic in their native language. They are obviously in English, great as well, but there's just something else a little bit more. It's great song though. What a great song. What a great choice that is.
Thank you very much.
Terrific choice. Well, my number in dark. My number 3 is Spellbound by Susie and the Banshees. Could have been number 1. Actually, could have been number 1 pretty comfortably. Again, features again John McGeoch, who at this point left Magazine to join Susie and the Banshees. And Susie describes him as the best guitarist she had, and said that period was the best of the Banshees. I think she's right. The song is really dark. Story of a child who's vulnerable, gains knowledge, and then sort of rejects it all. There's just all this weird imagery within it. Lyrics like "You hear laughter, cracking the walls, it sends you spinning." Again, I say, "Whoa, what the hell's that?" It's a very sort of rebellious tune about a young girl growing up and rejecting everything that's happened before. And there's a sense of violence to it. McGeoch's guitar, 100-mile-an-hour strumming. Again, that's massively influenced on Johnny Marr. You just go and listen to stuff like, you know, Big Mouth Strikes Again and all those sort of songs, and you can hear it. It's really, really clear. So McGeoch, what a guitar player. But I just want to put it out there, Budgie, what a drummer. The drumming on it is
we're all in here, like Budgie, like how he absolutely like kind of held everything together, didn't he? He was firmly in control.
Yeah. When you see all these rankings of list of the great drummers, and it's always the same ones, and they're all great drummers, Budgie never gets mentioned. He should be up there. His percussion play is outstanding. He's just got these enormous tom sounds, and it's so, visceral. There's some real power about it, but great rhythm. I mean, rhythmically, he's magnificent. And people, when you listen to it as well, it's not just the rhythm of the song that keeps it going. It's these little hi-hat flicks that he does, and it just lifts it a second as well. Oh, what a song. Susie, one of the great front people of all time, one of the greatest female singers of all time. In terms of stylistic, she just had everything.
I don't think you could take your eyes off her. Probably when you're listening to the music, then you start listening more to Budgie's playing, because I mean, she was. You couldn't take your eyes off her.
Yeah, I mean,
unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable band for me. One of the underrated bands. I mean, The Cure sell out arenas comfortably, and so they should. How Susie were never that big, I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand. I can't get my head around it. I don't understand.
Was it something to do with did they tour much? Did they just not?
They did a fair bit, but they just never cut through as big. I mean, they never really made it massively in America, whereas The Cure are huge in America. They just never made it like that, because there was always they were certainly one of the first post-punk bands. Their first album, with all that weird guitar stuff going on, and songs like Switch and that, just magnificent and proper groundbreaking band, really groundbreaking. Great song though. I just absolutely love it. Again, it's one of them songs I play an awful lot. So for number 3, for me there, Spellbound. What have we got into number 2 then, Kirk?
Number 2, you'll love this Darkness. It's not the Human League Darkness, but it's Joy Division, Love Will Tear Us Apart. Where we're going to start? The band that were trying to make their way. I think the single end of the charts at the very high end, was in the 30s, and then obviously what happened with Ian Curtis, then everybody, the spotlight went firmly on them. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more because I'm sure everybody, what you correctly said, I think the last time we're talking about this, whether Joy Division would have been as popular if things hadn't happened in that way. But I guess with most bands, a lot of people go back to them, don't they? Because they're never going to have anything else. Yeah. So what they have to cherish. And that's what happened with, Love Will Tear Us Apart. There's many songs I could have put in, Transmission. There's a lot of good songs by them. I prefer Closer. I think it's a bit to Unknown Pleasures. I just think it's a more complete album. It's just
my the way around for me, but
everybody seems to choose, Unknown Pleasures. That is the album. If you do it like that, it is a bit sparse for me. Where I just think it's a bit better. Again, there's probably a lot more keyboards in Closer, so that's why I think I prefer that bit more.
Yeah.
Anyway, fantastic. Love Will Tear Us Apart. Everybody knows it. Again, it's got that bass in.
It has. It's the definite bass theme in our selection, without a doubt, because the next 2 have got it for me. But yeah, it's fabulous. It's a great song. I'm surprised I didn't put it in my list, to be honest. There's a couple of songs I could have put in there by them comfortably. I think they are a great band. The 2 albums are terrific. I think this is a great song, and it came out a month after he died, didn't it? Was it the June? Did he die in the May? It came out in June, something like that. And it's a great song. Would they have been as big as I mentioned when I was talking to you previously? I'm not sure because I'm not sure myself whether if it had been the other way around, let's say a magazine, would they? It's a funny one. I'm really unsure. I don't think their back catalogue's any better. I really don't, and I know they've done 2 terrific albums, but it's what goes. I think the drum sound is unique. Is it Martin Hannett who produced them? I can't remember. It's one of the mountains. I was at Russia. I can't remember. But the production's great, and there's definitely something about that sound. The song itself was fantastic. Sung at many football stadiums and all around the world and all the rest of it. It is a great song, and it's one of them songs. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. So yeah, great choice, Kirk. It is a great choice.
Yeah, I think was it the night, you know, when he was getting ready to go into the studio to sing it? Was it Frank Sinatra he was listening to try and so something like that? It's one of the classic artists.
Right. Well, that's interesting because I've heard this mad version. If you get the chance, folks, there's an album called Beyond the Grave, and it's by an Elvis impersonator, and he sings "Love Will Tear Us Apart." Love, and he does a great version of it. It really sounds like Elvis, but you can actually hear the sort of, you know, the tone in his voice. He's definitely got that sort of thing going on. Yeah, that makes loads of sense actually. Now that you mention it, makes loads of sense.
Like, yeah, he based his vocals on it, so that's where he was going. Like that's sort of crooner type. But you know, you couldn't put the two together, but somewhere along the line that it was inspired there. The way
because he was a big Iggy fan as well, wasn't he? And Iggy has that sort of voice as well. When he wants to, he can do that sort of croon. Right, Kirk, my number 2 came out in 1979. Was number 1 for about 4 weeks, if I remember rightly. Amid the two-tone rush, we had all of that sort of stuff going on with Madness and the Specials and all those tremendous bands. But the song that stood out was so different and so unique was Our Friends Electric by Tubeway Army. So different. I remember the first time I heard it, I thought, what the hell's that? That's weird. Being a little punk kid at the time, this was sort of really different, cutting edge. It's about 5 minutes long. It's one of the longest number 1s. I've got a feeling it might be longer than Bohemian Rhapsody. It's certainly one of them. It's really
well, that's a good call, that, like, because I mean, you know, there will be seconds between them.
Yeah.
Which one? And it was a song about being locked away. It's been about, was it locked away in a room because there's robots outside.
Yeah.
But the robots are serving the people.
Yeah.
You know, sexually or something like that. So,
that's right. It's about sex with robots and stuff. Our Friends Electric, and he said he did it like a little cartoon book, graphic little novel. He was doing a graphic novel, and he said all the songs on the album, replicas or link to the book, and that one was about that. That was about sort of sex with robots. Although he wouldn't tell people at the time on the radio because it would have got banned.
He wouldn't have stood a chance.
It makes total sense when you hear it now. He's a very quiet man. Once met him, saying to you previously that my mate put a gig on in Sunderland, and so I went along and I said I'd help out and sort of do tickets and stuff and all the rest of it. So I went out and we helped do the tickets for the gig, and he came in, and he came very quiet and was, hello. that was literally it.
Hi.
Hello, how you doing? And we had a massive rider in the back room. My mate Ian put the gig on. A huge rider in the back room at the Sunderland Uni, and he didn't eat any of it. They ate none of it. But the gig was great. I think they did all of Replicas album and the whole first Gary Newman album. It was a fantastic gig. The sound was sensational, and he was brilliant. He was absolutely tremendous. What a song, groundbreaking, so different, so unusual. Can't say any more than that. That's my number 2. Kirk, your number 1.
Well, just to add to that, in 2 weeks' time, I think it's approximately 2 weeks' time, there's a tribute band called Tubeway Days. They are absolutely phenomenal. And basically they play all the instruments, and he looks more like Gary Newman than Gary Newman. It's just amazing. So anyway, can't wait for that one. My number 1. Well, you're gonna have to press pause because you just stole it. So literally, that was my number 1. You got in, so I'll have to pick another one.
No, you just go with that. That's cool. That's a great number 1. I mean, have you got anything else you want to say about it?
We both chose that. well, for the same reasons. I think it was the first time seeing somebody who was so a step to the side from everything else. Nobody, to me, I couldn't put him next to anybody, and he was so unusual. His vocal style's really different. I don't think he's particularly great singer. I don't think through anything. I know most of the songs that he sings, that they're so like weird, robot-y, and the songs of Telecon, I Dream of Wires. I mean, there's just some really weird ones out there. Massive Newman fan. After that, then he went to Gary Newman, didn't he? And then Cause came in, but we both chose our absolute favourite. I love hearing this song. I love everything about it. We've talked about what the lyrics mean and everything.
When he wrote it, it was originally on guitar, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, he went to the studio, didn't he? Went to the studio, and there's the Polymoog or whatever in the corner. Yeah. So he decides just to literally plug it in and start playing on it. And he hadn't, rehearsed anything before. And in those days, I think probably had 4 or 5 days studio time, and the album was made like that. How fantastic is that? That's the type of story you want to hear. Yeah. Literally just made it up. I wonder what this does when I plug it in. Well, that's a nice sound. We'll probably use that, and there you go. Brilliant. Paul Gardner on bass, have to mention as well. Great bass player.
Was it his cousin or something, or uncle or something? Fred?
Uncle on drums.
That's right, yeah.
Lydiard, is it?
Yeah, terrific drummer as well. Great song. We both agree. What a tune. So my number one, it was number one in 1981, summer of 81. And despite all these debates about is it post-punk, is it not, I don't care. I think it is, because it's dark, it's moody, it's got some real edge to it about it. So for me, it fits into my criteria, and that's all that matters to me, is Ghost Town by the Specials. It's got all of those things that I've mentioned there. It came out at an incredible time. I mean, the whole country was in disarray. There was riots everywhere, whether it was in Brixton, Bristol, London, Newcastle, Leeds, wherever, it was all going on in terms of disarray regarding the police and their attitude, in terms of what was going on in the country, the sheer amount of unemployment, obviously Thatcher's government. And you had all of this stuff going on. It was political, and it captured the zeitgeist of the time. Not many songs do that. This definitely nailed exactly the period of time. I've never known a song that captures a period of time more than Ghost Town.
Absolutely fantastic song. Again, when you heard it, you knew exactly, it summed up what the whole country was going through. It was in disarray. As I say, Thatcher was just battering Maul with a big stick. Nobody kind of, it's a brilliant song. You can identify with it. We can, coming from that era. Yeah. And I hope people who listen to it now kind of understand a great word you've been using, but the darkness that the country was in. It was in a right hole. We were totally lost, and being governed by somebody who just was out of touch with everything. Everything to do with the youth.
Yeah, definitely out of touch with the youth, wasn't it? Just didn't have a clue and hated us in the north anyway, and all the communities that went with it. But the song is just fantastic. It's almost in parts, isn't it? You've got this heavy reggae opening, and then you've got this weird carnival seaside type weird, sort of dark, weird chorusy bit. And it's just, there's something really sort of super edgy to the song. I mean, there's so many mixes of it as well, isn't there? You can see why it's sampled so often as a song. It's just got everything that I want in this sort of genre. But it stands the test of time like no other. There's not many songs that I put on and I go, you're almost transported back to an exact moment in a period of time. And that song by the Specials does it. I mean, they split up about 2 weeks later.
Yeah, fantastic B-side as well. Double beat. What was the 12-inch? Why?
Why?
Friday night and Saturday morning.
Yep. Great song.
Which are just songs as well.
Yeah, just it's a superb song. I mean, that's my number one. I just think it captures everything and it does everything that I want. And it's so far removed from punk rock as well, yet still hanging on to the coattails of that sense of danger, and it's still got that sort of element about it as well. Something really dark and dangerous, that sort of danger side of punk. It's definitely got that. And then as I say,
Coventry were definitely a forgotten city. They were probably a town then. I think a city now, definitely a city now. And they were just seeing the despair, everything about the place. You know, it was just going nowhere. There's nothing happening. I mean, people don't understand what it must have been like to go to the job centre, you know, and have queues outside. You know, now you just sit at home and just go on Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's well, on that joyful note. Some really interesting choices there, I think, between with some very, very diverse types of choices. I mean, from Echo Beach to Ghost Town, that's quite a contrast. But great. You know, that's what it's all about. It's all about thoughts and discussions and debate, and that's absolutely it. So, folks, if you can let us know what your suggestions are, what you think, you know, do you prefer Kirk's list, my list? What's your top 10? We'd love to hear from you. But more importantly, please please subscribe, but definitely hit that like button just to try and boost our figures up online and sort of really get this sort of going. All right, folks, thank you very much for listening, and hope you've enjoyed the show. Until the next time, take care, folks. See you later. Bye-bye.